Hello and welcome to English Lessons with inlingua Vancouver. I'm Lester, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about however and nevertheless. So we use these two words to show contrast. They basically do the job of but. Why do we want to use them? Well, when we're speaking, it could be because the word but is just not strong enough to show the emphasis that we want to put on the contrast, and stronger words like however or nevertheless would let us do that. The other reason why you might want to use them is that you're not speaking, you're writing, and when you're writing you want to try and vary your language as much as possible when you're talking about contrast. You especially don't want to start a bunch of sentences with but. If you do that a lot, it can look a bit lazy and your writing won't be taken seriously. So it's important to try to vary your language this way. How does it work? Well, we've got two ideas that are related in that they contrast each other. So you could use however this way. Jerry lived in Japan for 10 years. However, Jerry can't speak Japanese. And that works because these two ideas are contrasting. You could also use nevertheless exactly the same way. Jerry lived in Japan for 10 years. Nevertheless, Jerry can't speak Japanese. And that works because the result is the opposite of what you would expect from the cause. While it's true that you can use however everywhere you can use nevertheless, it isn't true the other way around. There are some cases where it's okay to use however, but nevertheless would be a mistake. And I'll show that with two examples. So I'll start with an example where both words are possible. Again, my friend Jerry. Jerry likes milkshakes. Jerry doesn't like ice cream. And so those two ideas, there's kind of a relation because milkshakes are similar to ice cream. They're made from ice cream, and so it's kind of surprising. So there's a cause and an opposite effect. So it would be okay to say Jerry likes milkshakes, however, Jerry doesn't like ice cream, because those are contrasting ideas. It would also be correct to say Jerry likes milkshakes, nevertheless, Jerry doesn't like ice cream. And that's okay because the effect is the opposite of what you would expect. And we call that concession, the idea that something leads to the opposite of what you would expect. Here's an example of when nevertheless wouldn't work. Jerry likes milkshakes. However, Jerry doesn't like postmodern fiction. Now those two things have nothing to do with each other, but it is a contrast because in one case he likes and in the other case he doesn't like. But it would be wrong to say nevertheless in that sentence because those two ideas are not connected in a kind of causal way. Other words that you might want to use when you're thinking about contrast, they all work in that way of concession, just like nevertheless. Nonetheless does basically the same job and it's used the same way. Even so, notwithstanding, very fancy sounding word, if you want to increase your writing vocabulary about contrast. And if your writing is not academic, but maybe poetry or prose, you might use still, yet, or though, and they all kind of do the same thing. That's about all I have to say about however and nevertheless. However, I hope you check out more videos on inlingua Vancouver and leave your comments below. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, and see you in class.